The Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, or NPCA for short, is dedicated to not only protecting the watershed of the Niagara Peninsula, but restoring nature and educating the next generation. Here are some of the amazing staff we have working with us.
My name is Steve Gillis. I'm a restoration project lead.
I'm Stuart McPherson. I'm also a restoration project lead. I joined the NPCA almost 4 years ago, and it was kind of a continuation of the work I'd been doing, working in restoration, habitat restoration, environmental restoration, and it was a really good opportunity to kind of work back at home in Niagara. Ducks Unlimited came in the winter of 2019 and dug this. The landowners here were really keen on adding more habitat to their land and trying to give back a little bit more to the nature in Niagara, and this is one of the things we did. We're planting a mixture of quick-growing things that will provide shade, and things like cottonwoods, dogwoods, and willows, and these things will actually hold the soil. They'll grow, the roots will grow out and hold the soil as well. The other thing we're planting are some things that will be here a lot longer, things like oaks and maples, and even some sycamores. And these trees will take a long time to get big, but they'll be around for a long time. I mean, an oak could live to be 900 years old. We only get a couple opportunities to come to a property when we work with them, so we try to get as much done as we can and try to make a long-term plan for how it's going to look in the next, not only 10 to 15 years, but what it's going to look like in 50 years.
I joined the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority as an ecologist to deal with the plants and animals and help improve the environment. There's a variety of different species at risk. At one of our sites we have eastern Massasauga rattlesnakes. We also have red mulberry trees and a variety of other species as well. The Wainfleet Bog is the largest bog in southern Ontario. It's over 3,000 acres. Our property is roughly 2,000 acres. There is a narrow gauge railway system in the bog here, and what they used that for was to transport the peat. They put it on the railway system back out to the parking lot where they had a processing plant. Some of the invasives here are the European birch tree, as well as a little bit of Phragmites. The water wells at our site we installed to monitor the groundwater system. As part of our restoration program, we wanted to see whether we're meeting our goal, which is whether the water is close to or at the surface. What I would like people to know about this site is its significance. It's a bog ecosystem, which is a vegetative community that we don't have a lot of in this particular area, and it has value by improving the air and the water for the area residents.
My job mainly encompasses is I am in control of the educational programming that we run here at Balls Falls. I love this job because I get the ability to teach about nature in nature, being fully immersed in it. We always start with a short indoor presentation just to get students thinking about the sorts of concepts we're going to be talking about on our hike. So we took them through the trail, we got them immersed in their senses, they were feeling moss on rock. So the fact that I get to show real life examples and have students outside just makes me so excited to share my wealth of knowledge with them and inspire a love of nature.
This role looks after all of our services that we provide out of our conservation areas, including our educational programs, historical tours, environmental education and interpretation, as well as the activities that we put on. One of the things that we're conveying with our outdoor education is that there is so much to learn from our environment, so much to learn within our watershed. So we see thousands of folks throughout the year, which is really exciting that we're sharing the news with students across the Niagara region, as well as students that visit us from areas like Hamilton and Haldimand as well. Our days are very diverse here and very exciting, so we can either be back in time in our heritage village or in our boots along the trails exploring our environment.
I have to do a daily planning cycle, so I look at the weather, I look at all the water levels within local creeks, see how much rain we've had in the past 24, 48 hours, and I also maintain a hydrometric network, which is what we see here today. So all this data that we're collecting through these stations gets posted real time to our website. This station here is monitoring air temperature and water temperature as well as water level. So if you do have a resident that's living close to a creek and they're concerned, they can go to our website. Typically we want to be proactive in our flood duties. So we try to keep people away from the hazard, not the hazard away from people.
My job is to implement the water quality program, and that essentially means that I monitor the streams, creeks, and rivers in Niagara. And this includes surface water, groundwater, and biological monitoring. So this is the upper 12-mile creek, which is the only cold water, groundwater fed stream that we have left in Niagara. And what that means is that the groundwater is influencing the creek, and it means that the creek stays cooler in the summer and it stays a little bit warmer in the winter, so it won't freeze over. And that's really important for certain species that live here. For example, we have brook trout here, and brook trout are rare in Niagara. This is the only creek that can support a brook trout. Biological sampling is just another way of testing the water quality. So we know what bugs are sensitive and what bugs can tolerate pollution. Sometimes for water quality, we can also use what we call probes or sondes. And what they are probes that sit in the water, and they can read off in real time what's going on in the creek. We have a lot of programs, a lot of education programs for landowners as well, how to have less impact on the creek. So if you have a creek running through your property, you don't want to, mow down everything right to the edge of the creek. You want to let things grow around it.
As you can see, we've got a number of knowledgeable and passionate people working at the NPCA to make our watershed a better place. Our dedicated staff build relationships with community groups, volunteers, and partners, and together we have achieved great results. We planted over 57,000 trees in 2019, reforesting almost 26 hectares of land, and created 2 hectares of wetlands that will provide habitat for wildlife and water quality benefits. Our programs educate close to 6,500 children, inspiring the next generation to be kind to the environment and to be curious about nature. We love this community and work hard to keep our watershed beautiful, healthy, and resilient while keeping people and their property safe.